Hello, hello. So, oh god, you almost had a perfect start until I knocked shit over. But you know what? That's still not gonna stop us for today. Because I decided I'm just gonna hop straight into it. All my little settings and stream finagling was minimal today. So, watch this. I'm gonna fix it in one click, despite having way too many scenes open. Okay, 2 clicks. 2 clicks. That's all it took. Just that good. Hello, hello, and welcome back to my stream. What am I doing? I've gone a little off course over the past couple of streams. What have I been working on? What is the goal of any of this? Well, it's time for the riveting conclusion of my escapades making my Unity CNC machine. I thought that since I think I finished the project, I might as well have a little retrospective on what I've been working on here. So, let's open up Unity and go through it. And let's also look at our little diagram. So, overall, our goal has been to make a little CNC machine, a computer numerically controlled machine. That's what CNC stands for, right? CNC machine, a computer numerical controlled machine. Yeah, computer numerical controlled machine, where really that's any kind of machine that generally takes in pre-programmed templates in order to manufacture things. So think like 3D printers, pre-programmed movements, lathes, stuff like that. I wanted to make one of these in Unity to have as a little code machine. So that way, whenever I would actually handle coding or creating components, I could just do that in Unity. I can make little digital components as I program. And this is that machine. It's been nice and manufactured and is currently offline, but it's capable of manipulating little components I put in here and making them do things and hopefully making them transform at some point. But then I had the thought, all of this is to be connected to my cyberspace world. I live in a cyberspace opera, which is a fun term that I coined. So everything around me and in my world is digital fundamentally. So the act of me coding creates little machines that I can actually use in my world. But how do I trigger my CNC machine to connect to programs? When I develop something correctly, it develops a machine, and when I do something bad, it explodes or has some other similar effect. So that's where this little architecture diagram came in. I realized I wanted to be able to control what happens with my CNC machine from, let's say, a Stream Deck or my phone. So I paid for an app called Touch Portal in order to let me do just that. With Touch Portal, it creates what's known as a Websocket server, and in that server, I can upload my own custom plugin that provides these entry TP points. Like one that's just for my CNC machine effects, good or bad, maybe a set of effects that I can do for my expressions. But for now, I very generically set it up where it just provides me with an access to a WebSocket connection. That's been the plugin I've been developing here, this WebSocket client plugin. I guess it's added to my firewall. And that's this plugin we see right here, WebSocket client. It's the one I developed. It's also what this is. Right now, I'm running this plugin directly from Visual Studio in order to actually handle debugging. But the same access to this plugin, which is provided via this entry TP JSON file, has been given to Touch Portal. The full workflow is all the buttons you see here are on my little phone. Whenever I click on my phone button, it gets sent to the Touch Portal WebSocket server. It funnels through to my WebSocket client plugin server, or really application, and this handles creating a unique WebSocket client and then sending it out to try to connect to whatever WebSocket IP I've specified. So here, I'm trying to send it to my machine localhost on port 80 with the endpoint WSDemo. Now, the original goal was just to have it do this, connect to the WebSocket server, and then bing, bang, boom. Now it's inside of Unity, which will be hosting its own WebSocket server on that address, and being able to let it control specific systems within it. But the issue that we ran into last time was we were getting a 400 error, marking that the connection I was receiving was not a WebSocket connection. This was baffling to me because it was a WebSocket connection. This workflow works when these two programs, the WebSocket client plugin and the WebSocket server, are both run not inside of Unity. They can communicate to each other just fine. But when it's run inside of Unity, and you can just copy paste it over the exact same code, all of a sudden there's an issue. So what's the his app? What's happening? From what I've been able to understand, there's something about Unity's runtime or version of .NET, something along those lines, that causes it to mark that the incoming connection is not a WebSocket because it can't support WebSockets. So let me show you a little bit of what I mean. The original code I was using was this little WebSocket server I wrote up. And when I really combed through to try to figure out what's happening, I should get a recreation of what happened last time, where I started combing through and I had it. Ignore some of these scripts, they're my later on solution, but we're not there yet, okay? We have to walk step by step. So whenever I would actually start this WebSocket server in Unity and it would receive a WebSocket client connection, it would pass through to here, so our HTTP listener context. I'd log out the fact that we received this request. Here, I'm making just a quick little object in order to parse out specific fields of this listener context.request that I wanted to see. And then I would convert it to a JSON so I can get it in a nice, beautiful format. The reason I'm not straight JSON converting this listener context request is because some of its members and accessors are not valid. So for instance, there's one called get certificate, which is handled if I was using WSS or having any form of TLS authentication. I'm not. This is just like an intranet communication. So that would actually break this JSON convert. But overall, I'm parsing out the fields I want to see. I'd log them. And then in the event that the request I had received from my little WebSocket client was indeed a valid WebSocket request, it would be passed on to be processed. If not, it would come back with a status code 400 saying what you just gave me wasn't a WebSocket request. This isn't a normal HTTP server. This is only meant to handle WebSockets. So it would just reject the connection attempt. But for some reason, even though this is coming from a WebSocket and it's completely set up normally, I would always end up getting this 400 status code. So let me show you. I believe it's set up here. Yep. And I believe the WebSocket server also has the exact same. So it's hosted on localhost 7890. Let's make sure this is pointing there. 7890. We'll remove the endpoint. Just a proof of point. So that's routed to where this server will be starting. Let's start up Touch Portal. And then we'll continue from there. So I don't need the Unity code right now. WebSocket client, booting it up. As you can see, it will activate and successfully connect with Touch. Oh my, there's errors. How'd that happen? Newtonsoft. Why is it complaining about Newtonsoft? Unity engine. Wait a minute. Am I in the right? This isn't the right script. Whose script is this? WebSocket server. This is the Unity script. Why is it in here? I think I just moved this script into this. Oh, okay. This is why you don't code late at night. This is a mistake. This entire script should not even be in here. I don't think it's needed. Yep, a little bit of late night coding for you. Okay, this now just works. Perfect. So it's connected to Touch Portal. I have my little phone app connected, so I should be able to hit the button and then it gets sent out. Now I'm going to run Unity. And now Unity is running that WebSocket server I had shown before. I believe it is. Start server. I'm pretty sure it's the WebSocket server running. Yes, it is. So now I'm going to hit my little button, and we're going to see what happens. So I just hit the thumbs up button, and then it attempts to make a connection. We can see the server receives that connection, and it logged out all of the relevant information about that connection here. But it was ultimately rejected and returned to 400, saying this was not a WebSocket request. And thus, my application returns an error because it failed to actually connect, and then killed that WebSocket. So the weird part is, well, why isn't it a WebSocket request? JSON validator, let's read out in nice, pretty textual language. What's happening here? Nope, that's just the wrong JSON. So I'm gonna format this. Press no, validate, there we go. So now we have this beautiful JSON representation. As you can see, we have all of our headers, and what came back is this is WebSocket field. It's coming back false. So why is it false? Well, let's dig in a little bit. So when I am trying to convert it into a WebSocket context, we have our little HTTP listener context. Let's see, it's designed to accept WebSockets. Let's take another step into the request. Oh, I see. I'm currently using the newer .NET runtime. So right now it is abstracting what this Boolean is doing, because right now it's just saying, oh, hey, you're just getting a WebSocket. What's wrong with that? But if I go ahead and change the .NET runtime, because for the sake of experimentation, I had initially changed it from...
I need some music.
From .NET Framework to .NET Standard 2.1, and that didn't do anything I wanted it to do, so I'm going to change it back to .NET Framework, just to prove that that wasn't the issue. It's still going to throw the same error. But now, the issue is, when we step into that is WebSocket, what appears to be going wrong, so let's just run it again, just to show. So everything's still active, going to hit thumbs up, not a WebSocket request. So if we step back into what our request class is, we're going to decompile it, and now we can actually see what code was inside of that is WebSocket Boolean. So we're getting it, and I believe this is what's returning false. This WebSocket protocol component is supported. Something about the Unity.NET environment is causing this WebSocket protocol component to not come back true. Why, oh why is it not true? Well, that's something for me to think about, something for me to chew on. We will have to see and expect more later. But for now, I can just accept that this is not true. It's not good that I have to accept it, but there's a workaround for this. And that's, we go one level deeper, okay? So if HTTP won't save us, we have to go to TCP for our solutions. And the way we do that is through a wonderful library that I found that I should have bookmarked, but I didn't in my late night coding theme state. Let's see if I can find it again. It was like Unity, WebSocket, server, GitHub. The only issue is that there are so many projects that just give you a WebSocket client in Unity. Like Unity natively supports WebSocket clients with WebGL, but I don't know if WebGL actually supports WebSocket servers. Usually because the game client's not expected to act as a server, but I need my game client to be a server in my use case. Was this it? Yeah, this was it. So thank you so much, Shauna Banana, for coming in oh so very, very clutch for me. Oops. I accidentally copy-pasted the blog again. Let's do this. Separate window, please. Hello? There we go. Thank you, Vivaldi. So Shauna Banana's little Unity WebSocket server. All this really does, you can see it inside of the actual assets WebSocket server script here, is that it comes with three things: the WebSocket protocol, the connection, and the server. And the server runs by operating on TCP instead of HTTP. And it does successfully work. So instead of an HTTP listener, it's a TCP listener, and everything else happens as expected. It loops through, it attempts to see if there are any incoming messages, and then create corresponding events for those, and listen for that connection. If it's a correct handshake where we accept a new client, we run accept TCP client, do our little handshake, and establish the connection. All of that great stuff. And I can prove that it works as well, because you see here we actually have an instance of that WebSocket server script, and I've attached it to my CNC machine just to log out the word howdy whenever it receives anything. So we're not actually receiving, we're not processing the message we're receiving, we're just logging out the fact that we received something and said the word howdy. So let's change things up. Let's tackle that server. So here we're coming in via 127.0.0.1, which is basically 192.68. It's the same as localhost, basically, but not exactly the same.
Good.
Let's change this port to like 1. So 7891, just to be different from the initial 1. Just to be different from the previous implementation I had. So we have this set up. I have now changed where our touch button is pointing to. So for now, I just set it to localhost 7891. I believe this won't work because it needs to be identical. So this would have to be set to localhost. But sure, let's give it a whirl. So I'm going to run it. That server is going to spin up. Oh. Okay. I think this was my other HTTP code, and it's complaining because now I have 2 servers running on the exact same port. Yeah, let's change this to 2. No, why is it still complaining? I'll just disable it, because it doesn't really need to run anymore. Hello? Oh, there we go. So in Unity, previously I was having the server be started, WebSocket server, was being called from start server by CncMachine. Now it doesn't need to do this, because we're not running the old WebSocket server anymore. We're running the new TCP-based WebSocket server, which is kind of how I'll differentiate them. My previous solution was an HTTP-based WebSocket server. Now we're running the TCP-based WebSocket server, TCP-based one. We have that IP address. Make sure it matches on Touch Portal, which I just updated. Touch Portal to match. Play. It's up. So now we're going to press the button and see what happens. Okay, so I hit enter in order to let it go through, but it successfully did not find a client with that address, generated that WebSocket client, On action, we found the client with a valid address because we just made it, and then we attempted to send out that information, and we sent it. Then Unity was received, it did receive it, and then the client connection was accepted, and we hit received message howdy, which is the script on CncMachine if this function runs, which it did because it received the message correctly. And if I continue to just send messages blindly with different payloads, so now I'm going to say howdy for all via this payload, we're going to hit the plus button again, and you can see we hit that message howdy once more. So the log is different, or really the log is the same in Unity, but it's different in my actual plugin. So now I actually have the two communicating, all because the Unity implementation for the WebSocket server had to be written in TCP and not based on the HTTP protocol. For some reason, there's something fundamental in the way .NET is set up in Unity where its HTTP listener does not like handling WebSocket requests. Weird, but what can you do? And that has earned me a tea break to sip from my canteen. It's not really canteen, more like a thermos. A thermos full of tea, because I make extra big batches of tea nowadays. Oh, that's nice. And water to cool the mouth after a nice refreshing cup of tea. I'm going to have to piss a storm later for all this hydration, okay? Water saving me. But we've now shown that the whole workflow works. So we can officially update our little document or docket here to say we no longer get this block. Instead, we have our TCP based WebSocket server. And that allows us to have our full workflow succeed. So now it's time to actually integrate in good old Shauna Banana. Am I saying that correctly? Let me double check. Yes, integrating Shauna Banana's repository into my code proper, because while it does work and it does a lot of the things that I want / needed to do, there are some design decisions I want to modify and might disagree with a bit. For instance, I want to make her WebSocket system its own service inside of my Unity project. So what do I mean by that? Well, right now I just have her entire project as a subfolder inside of CncMachine scripts, and that's not where I want it to be. It should be able to stand independently in its own scripts as its own system with its own assembly.dll. So we'll call this TCP WebSocket server. Paste all that in there, all that goodness. Bring it up a notch too. Theoretically, I could just call it WebSocket server, and I think I actually will just call it WebSocket server because I'm not going to have multiple versions of WebSocket server. This is just specifically, this is the TCP. What makes this one unique is that it's using TCP, not HTTP. But I don't think there needs to be something I know, because it's not like I'm going to have an HTTP and again TCP one running concurrently. Just the TCP one. So. Let's turn down the music just a little bit. And let's keep going. So we've got our WebSocket. Let's create our assembly to package that baby. Nice and neatly wrapped. Oh no, I'm getting my allergic sniffles. It was raining today. And that was very nice, very beautiful. Cooled everything down. But it causes my allergies to act up, which is not the best. Assembly definition, and call this WebSocket server. I must say, I do appreciate it when Unity packages come with their own assembly definition file. It saves me the step of doing this, because I like to keep my code actually packaged amongst assemblies. It makes things cleaner, easier, know when I'm crossing boundaries and making dependencies I may or may not want to do. Alright, nose break. And I just realized I was still muted. It's a little funny how my soul leaves my body when I do that. I have to expunge the demons in my nose. And invite the sweet warm embrace of tea into my mouth. Okay, WebSocket server assembly has been made. I don't want the WebSocket server to actually be a mono behavior. There's no reason it should be. Or should it? The issue is getting the server to start. And since the server is its own service, it really should be starting itself independently. But it will need a mono behavior in order to actually start running. So there should be one. Also, I don't actually need the client at all. Like the connection, I'm pretty sure the connection is the client. Then again, it has the struct for what a WebSocket message is. I don't think I need this. I think if I delete this connection, let me actually read the code before I just make a sweeping assumption that I don't need it. Is connection referenced at all in the server code? We have the word connection. Okay, yes, WebSocket connection is passed in for open event. What does WebSocket connection do? This is the individual pathway we're using. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, so this is the actual thread and connection that I'm actively handling whenever our client has connected itself. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So I do need all of this. I just don't like the server itself being a mono behavior. Is every part of this a mono behavior? It shouldn't be. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make a separate class that'll act as the mono behavior trigger. So, by the way, if you're curious why my code folding might look different to your Unity version, I specifically downloaded, I believe, the URP demo example, and it does a lot of really nice code folding, or like a little editor helpfulness for folding like different aspects that could be available. And I also have customized it a little bit further to put things that I know I'll be using at the top or in different places. Oh wow, I could just hit mono behavior script. I prefer going down to scripting mono behavior script. We'll call this Websocket server behavior. I always add behavior as a suffix to a class to imply that this is specifically like a mono behavior goes in the game scene to function. What's that? Oh no, IntelliSense broke on Visual Studio. Looks like I have to restart it. Why does this keep opening? I love you, dialogue system, but why? Stop it. Get some help. Let's open up the server and the server behavior. And the server behavior is just going to be like an on awake, start the server. Because I don't think the server needs to actually worry about any real dependencies from anything else. So we should be good. Wait a minute, I just had an epiphany. Can Waterdo actually track where my eyes are? I don't think it's moving my eyeballs. Yeah, because I'm looking up right now, and I don't think it is looking up. Or if I'm looking, it can understand kind of when I'm looking down a little bit, but yeah, it looks like I'm looking dead on. That's weird. I have to fix that at some point. Probably just a setting I need to flip. But that's for later testing. Right now testing is, oh my god, look at all the things I have on my toolbar. They're just called WebSocket. Please. There's Restream on there? Oh yeah, I imported my Restream listener for code reference, because that was also a WebSocket thing I did in Unity. Let's get rid of all the stuff I know I don't need. So, back in CncMachine, we're going to get rid of that code. Props, yep. No more, okay, that's also where I put the Restream button. No more WebSocket stuff that Restream has to utilize. Instead, it'll import the WebSocket server service and subscribe itself to that. Oh, I need to shave. Getting hair in my mouth. Ugh. Okay. This will be replaced with the WebSocket server service. WebSocket. There we go. Now that's applied. We can bring Visual Studio back as it continuously tries to recompile itself. Oh, I moved the WebSocket server. Is this the same one? This is. Okay, you do not need to be mono behavior. Should you be static? I feel like it should be static. Because there's no reason to ever have more than one of these. No reason whatsoever. At least it's namespaced with WebSocket server. I appreciate that. Namespace, WebSocket server, of course. Let's replace all your gooey insides. System serializable. These are Unity events that, again, are not. It should have its own events, yes. They should not be Unity events, no. Wait a minute, I just realized these are classes. There's a whole class called WebSocket Open Event that inherits from type Unity event? Why is this a declared class? Or is it expected that I like inherit and do more with these? Interesting. Is it like written in the... Did I not read the documentation fully for this project? Oh, she expects me to use it? Okay, making an assumption there. If it's not working for you, then create an issue or email. It works on Mac OS too. Okay, so first import the package, releases, yes, create an empty game object, slap it on there. If you use inheritance, assign your own, input the IP. Easiest way is to use the inspector, of course, using class inheritance. Alternatively, you can inherit from Websocket server and have your following code do this. Okay, so you can inherit from Websocket server and then just have these class functions, override them, and then put in your own ooey gooey goodness. Because yeah, that's what these are. So really, this is designed in order to, this class is designed to be inherited from, to have additional functionality placed upon for later. Can a static class inherit? I think a static class can do inheritance. But can it inherit from a non-static class? What a curious question. I now want to know the answer to. Okay, so those exist, and we're going to... Oh, and then there are instances of them. Bump those down. So this also needs all of its little personal events. Are these used? I am splitting hairs a little bit. Okay, I think I know what needs to happen, actually. What actually needs to happen is a little bit of refactoring. So you'll keep these? No, you won't. Yeah, you won't. You're going to keep these. But start, the actual core of this is going to remain in the server. So it's just going to be called public void start server. I like to use, I think this is called the humble object pattern, where we separate out the mono behavior from the non-mono behavior functionality. WebSocket server, for now, we'll just leave this as not static to keep my life simple. WebSocket server, you know what to do in IntelliSense. Come on, you can do it. Or not. We'll move up to awake too. So if on message is null, make on message equal to, so fill it out. Interesting. Why would it be null? Why not the others like this too? This is a little sanity check. I'm also going to check the original source code for some of this. Like, what am I fiddling with right now? I'm fiddling with the WebSocket server, CS. Yeah, so like send message and handle and receive are already commented out. Okay, to be honest, the only thing I really need are the TCP server ooey goodness inside of here. Because I also know how all this works. It's just convenient to have it already rolled and wrapped up in a setup for me. When we begin listening for a TCP connection, we start that thread to do so. Then it'll infinitely keep listening and then reacting and doing new things depending on if a connection does come through. So, well, true, we're going to keep accepting. Going to set up a connection to establish. So this is the event to listen for new connections. And you just keep doing this forever. So update. Events.dq. Okay, how does events get populated? So it's up here. So event is equal to a concurrent queue of WebSocket events. Actually, not use a concurrent queue. What is that? It's default .NET connection. I imagine it is a... Let's just Google that. What is a concurrent queue? C#. A concurrent queue is basically a queue that provides protection against multiple threads mutating its state and causing inconsistencies. So it's a thread safe queue. Okay, gotcha. Because yes, we do have the way it's set up is that this is multi-threaded. We might be able to change that into just like concurrency using UniVRM at some point, but we're not going to do that right now. Mostly because, again, the scope of this application is not to really be that robust, so maybe multi-threading is a bit overkill. But we will see. We'll see after. A nose break, because I'm stuffy. You can hear it when I'm getting nasally. I love it when I look dead into the camera with soulless eyes. I leave my own body for a moment. It's my favorite pastime. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I need to figure out what's populating events here. Nothing is? Apparently nothing is. We have worker threads. So how does anything run? How was this set up before? It was set up in this update, so we're going to infinitely keep trying to dequeue events. If the event was a form of WebSocket open, then we run the open thing. If it was a close, it was a close. If the event received here was a message, then we dequeue it, handle it as a message. Oh, wait, okay. So WebSocket server might not have that answer, but protocol, and that's not the existent, nor is connection. We're closing everything but these files, okay? We're locking it down, but pinned. Protocol might have the answer for what's happening. Hello, protocol? Yeah, so server behavior, protocol. Do you handle the events? No? Okay. Nope, don't need you. Please go away. I have to sneeze. Oh, damn. That was a heavy sneeze. That hurt. Connection. Do you handle the events? What is the type we're even handling for events? Let's move some stuff back over. In the process of breaking something, you learn so much about how it works and its existence. It's a beautiful thing. I already moved events back over, okay. So we have current events instantiated to something new. How are events populated? Where are we putting stuff in? Because I would think it would have to be here. And this is like connection, we enqueue a connection or receive a message. What are we doing with this events variable? No, I don't need package cache. Yes, I want my version. Nothing in third party interests me. Nothing in plugins interests me. Oh god, okay. Yeah, the word events is a bit generic. Okay, WebSocket server here. Enqueue. Oh, I see, I'm just blind. But this is what I was looking for. So we have different moments in which we're enqueuing things into the server. Are they all from connection? They are. So we have when we establish, when does establish run? The server. So yeah, the moment the server establishes itself, it runs establish. It sees if there's anything available. So basically this is where we're going to look at that initial request to see if it's a valid WebSocket request. This is what was failing in the HTTP version, but succeeding here. Check out an array bytes. Is the client available? I imagine does it have any form of header? Then we do the WebSocket protocol connection handshake with that request. Yep, so we translated that request header, then we check the actual, see if that header is valid. is, then continue. So initiate the connection by sending a reply. So here we're creating the handshake reply, which is a 101. Then we stream write it, so we're sending it back. And then we're actually creating a brand new thread in order to handle the connection. We just handle connection. This thread's just going to run infinitely. It'll happen in the background. We hit start. And then we do the actual server callback where we're creating this WebSocket event, which is interesting that this is a native Unity type, which contains the actual WebSocket connection we're working with. The type of event it is. Let's look at what those types are. If it's an open, close, or message. Wait, these are custom defined. Okay, this is what's custom defined for this. Gotcha. And then the actual data of that connection. We enqueue the fact that this was an open event, and then we add that to the events queue, and then we come back true, meaning we successfully did the establish. Which is funny, we're not actually looking to see if the establish worked or not here, but we could add code to actually handle if it worked or not. Delete a thread when disconnecting. Oh, is that not already built in? Well, I had something for us to add. So we successfully do the establish, and that solves one of the questions of where we're enqueuing stuff. So on our on open, we're down and in, I believe it should be here, when we're actually handling something from the events. Nope, it should be in an update here. Yes, so every time events gets populated with a new bit of information, which means events should stay in the server. Yes, it's very important that this stays in the server. We'll figure out how to execute this better. Again, probably this function, the actual meat of it, just stays inside the server. So you just make a new function instead called, this is start server, call this one like listen for events. Server events, really WebSocket events, but server events works. That's what all this meaty goodness is. And again, it's making the assumption that these on opens and such were Unity action events, or Unity events, but I want these to just be generic C# actions instead. So anything can hook into them. I guess I should pass in the whole WebSocket event, because that's how these were structured previously, right? Nope, I want behavior. Let's swap these. Yep, so these always pass in. Well, it could either be a message or just the act of a connection. Yes, this one should be on open. And then we continue from there. On close. Look at that. The AI could almost figure out exactly what it needed to do. So needs a little bit of help though. And now this one is on message, right? Oh, this is called yes. And then look at that, it's working now. And then we're gonna move that code down to its update loop. Server does. Oops. Not generically. This server, WebSocket server. Sorry. Actually, why is it just called WebSocket? That's not correct. This is a server. WebSocket server. Perfect. So now I think we've recreated how the server ought to operate, but we're using the humble object pattern, where we've actually divorced the mono behavior specific behaviors from it, and instead move that to its own proper pure C# class, because most of this is just pure C#. We'll double check that it works in a little bit. But yeah, right now the immediate thing it probably needs to do is also give access to these Unity events. I don't know why the original author made a class that inherits from Unity event. Maybe in the event that I wanted to add additional behavior or handling to each one of these. So innately, whenever I handle like a WebSocket open, I can have code that's guaranteed to run every time. I think that's the reason why. I guess here's a fun, oh, that's my phone. Like here's a fun test. If I do debug.log, Nope, just give me normal log, thank you. Can that even work? It doesn't exist, is because the Unity engine isn't here? No, Unity engine is here. It just does not exist in this context. I guess because this is not a model behavior. Okay, so I can't log out information immediately, which is a bit unfortunate because that would be like one of the great examples of what I want from this. Wait, okay, could I have an external function? Now we're just playing around with things. Test log, because I want to see why you would inherit from Unity event and make a whole class for that instead of just making these Unity events directly. So we're going to see if this is a valid test log for opening stuff. This is now open connection message. Hello there. So could I run this function? Could I do a this dot that function? No. I'm missing the purpose for this because it can't identify anything in its outer class. But I believe, again, that it's meant to have some kind of built-in functionality, but I just can't think of why right now. I'll leave it as is. We'll remove that architectural decision later. But we have the server updating when it needs to update and starting itself on awake. I think I'm going to test to make sure the server even still works with these changes. So, oh wait, nope, there's one more thing I need to do. So now that I have these events that will actually run when events are populated, and I want to go through more, like when are the events, when is the event little queue here populated specifically, but for now I'm just going to take it for granted that it will populate. I need to subscribe. So WebSocket server dot on message should now get a subscription from my on message dot invoke dot invoke. So why is this an issue? Because on message is a method group. Hypothetically, if I just changed on message, what is this? Yep, this one. If I just change it to again be a pure Unity event, would that work? Cannot assign to on message because it is a method group. Oh wait, nope, wrong on message on my part. My B. I need the lowercase one. And yep, that just works. So on message, on all of them, we're just going to subscribe our little events. So that way the Unity event now translates one-to-one to the actual, oh look at that, it figured it out, to the actual server code events. I'm not taking further recommendations from it yet, even though I know this is not needed, really. Will these be default populated? That's an interesting question that I will worry about later. For now, let's actually go back into Unity and start compiling what we've done. See if there are any egregious errors. Okay, that was extension native class, but that's not an issue. Ship content. This script no longer exists because now I've converted it into our behavior one. So when we get a new message, I want CncMachine to say the word howdy back to me. Yep, so say the word howdy. Give it a little run. So I believe, oh, why that happened? Oh, because I'm no longer supplying it. I see. That's a my B. That's on me. So I need to supply a new IP address and port information, which I did not bring over. So these would just be serialized fields. And then pass these in on awake. And because these are public again, there's a nicer way to do these. I'm not handling them. I just want to make sure this workflow works correctly for now. Just set equal to this address. And set your port equal to that port. And now I should be able to set it by hand. What should I be setting it to? let's take a look at where we're pointing. So localhost and 7892. So that's 127.0.0.1 792. Look at that, it's working. So now, because I already have Touch Portal running, and I already have the Touch Portal plugin portion running, I'm gonna hit thumbs up. Okay, I hit thumbs up. There it goes. It did hit howdy, but there was a delay there. A suspicious delay. A little bit weird. So, but it does show that everything's working. Let me press it again. I didn't have it collapse. I didn't see when it cuts that. Again? Okay, that's much faster. But the connection process did look like it took longer than when it did when I was using HTTP. But it was just getting rejected on HTTP. But it felt like it took longer than even when I used it in its vanilla state. Could have just been like a hiccup, though. Either way, that seems to be fine. Now I'm a little curious. If I hit stop, it's going to cause the WebSocket to wig out and thus delete itself, I think. In my system? Okay, nope, the WebSocket did not delete itself and it lost a connection in my plugin. I think it should, though. Here's what should be happening, because the issue is, now I think that client just exists. Okay, no, it does look like it, so the remote party closed the WebSocket connection without completing the handshake. So it will actually close the WebSocket on its own at some point. That's why we got that little red text up here, because we were manipulating with it on the Unity end and we closed the server. So the socket should close itself eventually. I thought it should be a bit more immediate, though. Alright, we made good progress, and on that progress, I want to take a nose break, because I need to blow my nose. I'm getting nasally. The rain's great for the atmosphere, but damn is it not good for my allergies. Okay, we'll be right back. My soul will now leave my body. Damn. I'm getting coughs too, a little throat irritation. My allergies are in full swing. Might actually have to take an antihistamine for that. But before antihistamines, I'm gonna take tea instead. Yummy, yummy tea. Oh, that tea's good. So good. Okay, so what have we done? We've integrated WebSockets to actually be a normal service or a real system inside of Unity. We've done a little refactoring to it in a way that I appreciate. We're making it use the humble pattern, so that way we've separated out the mono behavior portion of WebSockets into its own thing. But unfortunately, I still don't like the fact that it requires mono behavior for something like its update loop. Like, this does not please me. I want it so the moment I just hit start server, the mono behavior literally cares about nothing else about the actual WebSocket server. It should just be able to start it and not have to worry about like maintaining the concurrency of its states. So that means, and just to double check too, I'm pretty sure this listen for server events is where all of the event queuing happens from. So we checked this one. This is the enqueuement that happens on establishment to establish the fact that we've had an event for it opening. If I had to guess, this one's happening in that handle connection. Yep, because this is for whenever a normal message comes in. And then we have the close event, which is what this is. So the moment an error happens or we've received a code for closing, the event queuing for closing, and the event queuing for opening. And handle connection is the function that handles all of these, and all of this runs from, okay, the thread that starts after establish. So wait, why on earth, why does the update exist again? Because it's already in its own thread, running infinitely to handle actually receiving information. Is the update truly just for the events? Okay, it is truly just for the events. So the moment like something happens, we then pop it off and then distribute out the signal events for something happening. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This should just run in its own thread, or it should be running it as a mixture of listen for TCP connection. No, there's something else. Yes, this handle connection. So either the event listening portion should just be a part of handle connection, or it should be in its own thread. It shouldn't have to be manually kind of getting its heart pumped through by Unity's update, because there's no reason for that. And it creates even tighter coupling on having to have a mono behavior, keeping track of the state of anything. Because this is also how its internal events are being triggered. So yeah, not good. Let's change this up. How do I want to change it though? Do I need a new Obsidian for this? I don't think I need to bust out the Obsidian yet, okay? This isn't an Obsidian UML tier problem. But I do like it when I get to do my graph. By the way, this now works. We've shown that this whole graph works. I need to celebrate my wins more often. Like that, okay? We got from phone up. We're in Touch Portal. We're interacting with our little Touch Portal generic WebSockets. In this case, we're just passing it blindly to the client. We're going to our little plugin, which is still running in the background, chugging strong. There he is. Say hi, little plugin. It's waving hello to you by shaking. That's all it knows how to do. It's simple, but he tries his best. And then from there, that passes through as a new WebSocket client that reaches out to our TCP WebSocket server in Unity when Unity is running. And then from there, I can hand it off to specific services that I want to. But this is working. So the title of the stream is true. We have gotten the full workflow working. We've not actually connected to the CncMachine though, but the workflow is the important part. And we just want to clean this up a little bit more too, so it's very easy. Because the way I want it to work is kind of like this, so I can just attach the CncMachine, and we have a on message event that actually passes through whatever text information I'm trying to pass through, and then it can just operate. Likewise, I want just a pure Unity C# action that it can subscribe and listen into. So whenever it wants to, if a service needs to hook into this WebSocket server via code, it can do that. And if I just want to attach something in the scene, like again, the physical CncMachine we have here, I can also just do that. The beauty of having both worlds. But to zoom back in, oh, that's a hard sneeze. I don't even think I'm done yet. It's still the sneezes, they plague me. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not done. I'll be back. I can breathe again. I live. I am free. So, we've got our WebSockets. We need to remove Unity's mono behavior being dependent for the services listening. One way to do that, let's inspect trying to merge it with handle connection, because this is where the actual enqueuing of events even happens. Why even bother enqueuing it when instead I could just trigger the actual action to happen? Why don't we do this? Well, WebSocket connection does exist independent of the actual WebSocket server. That was a lie. It relies on the WebSocket server existing. They actually have a dynamic with each other. So WebSocket server doesn't know the connection exists. It just knows it has an action and it passes on information about that connection. And it only knows information about the connection because of its little queued array here. So connection inherits from message? No? Wait. Okay, so it can derive information even further. So in the event of a message, it then grabs the event's data and then composes it. Okay. So yeah, why not just have this actually happen as part of the... What's the word I'm looking for? As part of the WebSocket connection class. So have it, when it knows it wants to enqueue something, I think the upside might be, let's say there's two different running queues, because I don't object to the idea of the queue itself. The queue is actually quite nice. It's a nice way to kind of clean up gathering events whenever they may happen. All Connection needs to worry about is whenever an event does happen, throw it in that queue. So we don't need to inline that behavior, because this is honestly a very elegant way to extract out whenever we're specifically running through has the queue changed. It would be nice to instead, again, rather than having this thread loop every possible frame, just an event be triggered. Like, that would be quite nice. And then of course we just need the server events to trigger too. Let's try this out. Let's say instead of the queue, well, here's the easiest, okay? So we're changing basically nothing to do this, but instead, the moment we actually establish ourselves, it's a successful establishment. Just before we do this very first one, we're going to start a new thread to handle calling the servers enqueuement line. I need a better name for that function. The listen for server events thread. So let's say we do a new thread. Oh, the issue is, where does connection handler go? Can anything stop this thread? Because I don't want this thread to happen every time there's a new connection. So really just when the server starts should the thread have to worry about running. Connection handler, which is the WebSocket connection, runs start here. Oh no, that's starting the thread. Establish. Where does establish come from? WebSocket server. Okay, so just make WebSocket server, when it starts itself, it creates its own thread and handles listening to that information. And again, this will be running before here. So we're going to really just run this. This should just be an async while true, right? Okay, I think an important thing might be that it's running on the main thread. That could potentially be an issue. But for now, let's try doing it a bit more scuffed way. So we're going to... Ooh. Allergy cough, okay. So we're going to run it like a normal multi-threaded behavior here. Because it should be constantly trying to do this, so... this multi-threaded behavior. Connection handler. What was connection handler previously? A WebSocket connection? No, it was just a type of thread. Yep. We'll just declare a thread up here called server event listener or event routine. So event routine is equal to starting the thread on listen for server events. Event routine is a background event, and then we just start event routine. I think the trick is, again, the way this handle connection works is that this is just a while true to cause it to infinitely loop. Yep. So do we need a... We won't do this as a while. Instead, the real while is the friends we made along the way. The while is just going to be while true. Which means, before I fucking forget, let me remove this line in the update. So while this is true, in the event of there's nothing to dequeue, just stop. No, don't stop, like, just skip an iteration. And then if that is not true, then go down the little cha-cha line. I think this works, where now I've broken it off into its own thread to start up again only when the server actually starts, and then I can even have it where when the server stops, close, 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 close. When does the server close? Here. That's for like when a connection starts. I'm pretty sure again this only runs in the event that like again the server dies or something. The event routine can then stop. Dot stop? That should be a way to do it. How would I stop this? Can the thread stop at all? The thread should be stoppable, right? Is it close? Connection handler, show me your secrets. Okay, we never actually write it to stop. So I assume it just stops when this parent process stops? That might be bold of me to assume, though. Connection handler. Handle connection. So this can eventually... Will it ever? Really? Yeah, it'll break. We should just end this iteration. Maybe I should put break in there. So, okay, we might not need to stop this. That might not be bad architecture. That might be bad architecture, but we'll see. Let's find out. Only one way to find out. So let's hop in back into Unity. Oh, hey, look at that. The WebSocket closed itself. Goody. I have no idea why it takes so long to close itself, though. Oh, it's probably... Okay, I think I just answered my own question. The reason the WebSocket probably takes a while to close itself is because periodically, this is part of .NET, the WebSocket will randomly try to ping to see, hey, are you still alive, buddy? Hey, you still alive, buddy? And on that timeout, when it sees that the server is no longer there, it'll error out and then close itself. This is a nice little thing to do. So we're going to thumbs up. Ooh, okay. So it said it connected, but I didn't get the howdy message that time, which makes me think the event is not running correctly. So it did successfully generate it and send it, and it reached, but it did not induce the intended effect. Yeah, so the events are not being called back correctly. And again, this problem is probably just due to the nature of me treating the server listening like it's an event. So let's change that, shall we? Oh, wow, this is fancy. I don't need to see any of this. Oh, this is also like kind of rebuilding what, yeah, this is rebuilding the basics of like setting up HTTP to like do a GET request in order to actually handle the handshake, which is nice to see. I don't need it to be a thread anymore. That's the issue. I still want it to start, so instead I'll just make this an async void, an async task. Have this run basically still on the main thread. Really? There you go, task. While true. And just add in like a frame yield delay. I added a one frame delay. I always forget this. How to write a one frame delay C# task. Let's just test delay mo. One sec. Okay. Yeah, how do I wait one frame? Is it task.delay just one? Wait one frame with task.delay. Frame with task.delay. Let's try that. I don't need multiple frames, I just need one frame. Please, I know there's a specific way to write it. I just forget. I guess it's just delay one. That's the only result I seem to be getting. Oh, task.yield. Task.yield. Way better. Task.yield. That's not a weighted. Yeah. Oh, I need to do. Oh wait, task.yield. Yes. Really? Can I just put that at the beginning? Because I need it to yield no matter what happens. Yes. Now listen to server events is no longer handled as a thread. Instead, just start this. And establish connection. Okay. What did I change in here? Oh, I'm locking the fact that the WebSocket client was connected. Okay, so let's try this again. Oh, and it did warn me, yes, that I had a thread that was ongoing that just I didn't abort properly. Let's do, wrong touch portal. Thumbs up. Okay, I received the connection, but again, did not run the actual event. Which is not what we want here, you know? Yeah, it's still not running the event. I feel like there should be a better way, though. We can do this. We're workshopping it. So the issue now is that we are running. Let's just make extra sure. So yes, we have this running away on its little hamster wheel every frame for debug.log listening to events. Listening for events, and then I'm pretty sure this is if try DQ fails, we return for events. I guess. Okay, queue size. Make this really neat. Events.count. Yep. So we'll get here if we're successfully like debug.log handling queue. Handling event queue. Anything before that, we're just never getting there. Why are these misaligned? That shouldn't be the case. There we go. So back to Unity. We're gonna see what's going on with our little event buddy here. Okay, the WebSocket closed itself. Time to start up a brand new one. Drag over, thumbs up. Listening to queue size. Wait, it's not running every frame. Well, that will do it. Is it because I put break? Am I screwing myself by putting break? I might have misinterpreted break for what continue should be doing. I think I need to continue here. Be a little bit funny if that were the case, but you know, can always happen. Always get the utility for those confused. Nope, it's still not running every frame, which is suspicious. I should be getting logs. Oh, it did. It did actually handle the event this time, though. But now it's not logging. Like, it ran for a little bit and then just stopped, which is weird. Okay, thumbs up again. Hello? Thumbs up again. See, I'm sending these events, but they're no longer being received. Or they're no longer being, like, reacted to as an event. So it worked for a little bit. Let's try inverting this, maybe? So the moment this does succeed, let's just run this if statement. Listening for events, queue size, let's try it. Let's try it. Again, though, it's still not, like, logging every frame, which is what I really need that to be doing. Because that indicates that it is actually listening. Listen to server events. Let's make this more obvious. Debug.log. started event listening. Is this even running once? Or is it a thing where I can't even see debugs because it's running task and it's running in a different thread? I see debug.logs using task. I think I should be able to still see debug.log. There is a fair chance that just due to the nature of me running task, it's in a different thread. Therefore, I won't be able to see those logging statements. But I did see them for a little bit, which would be even more confusing. Okay, so again, yeah, started listening ran once. Then we got 0. Then we handled the 2 events. Yippee. This is highly inconsistent. Definitely not my favorite. Because the annoying part is I'm pretty sure this would work if I just wrote it as a coroutine instead. Huh. I needed a nose break. I'm frustrated. Okay, what is happening with this function? Yeah, so I did a enumerable. No, I think it's a numerator. Then I have to, of course, do the old unity yield return null. Instead of just doing it like this, I do start coroutine. Oh, because this isn't mono behavior. Funny. Huh. Okay, we're gonna go even wackier with this, okay? That's connection dot established. We're listening in. Huh. I need a mono behavior to do this, which is again annoying. Can I just call static mono behavior? Would that work? No, would be too easy. Yep, no, it needs to be an instance. Cough, cough. We have one right here. It's just a little bit annoying that I even have to do this because it's just really roundabout now. Yeah, this is attached to Websocket server. So this could be run from there. What's a matter of when it's run? Actually, this doesn't even need to be run at a specific time to be even more egregious. I'm just gonna run this like at the start of the mono behavior. This is Websocket server dot listen. Listen on in. Oh, good. Let's see what you got. Nope. So now it is logging every frame. And if I do my thumbs up, it gave me howdy. So again, it's a little annoying that I seem to have to use the Unity coroutine system. I'm not entirely sure why I can't. I guess the issue is because I'm listening to the events. But I like the event queue system. But, if I really don't want to have to use a whole Unity initiated coroutine, then I might not be able to use the event queue system. So instead, what if I just invoked server events every time? Yeah, so Let's change this. Instead, we have listen to server events. We're gonna hide that away. Not fully get rid of it yet, because I'm a coward, but we're gonna hide it. Instead, we have a void. What data type does the queue take? Websocket event. So, handle server event. Really just like respond to. This doesn't even need to be a run every kind of frame thing. This is just a call when there's actually an event to worry about kind of thing. So every time mode we usually use server events.enqueue. We're instead going to call server.respond to event. A little sad to see the queue system go, but I just really don't like having to make this model behavior dependent. So we got that. Now, this doesn't need to be run by anything anymore. So it removes that concern entirely. Let's see how this goes. Okay, WebSocket closed itself. We're back to neutral, baby. So let's see where we go. Hit play. And thumbs up. Okay, we sent howdy for all. We reacted, we started event listening, and then we did nothing after we started the event listening. Why? Why did we do nothing? Oh, because we... Yep, we said that the dequeuing means... But in reality, yeah, we just want the event. Okay, the socket closed itself instantly that time. That's good, that's good. The server was offline, so we're back. Thumbs up. This should work. Okay, we got far. We got way farther. So we handled the event. And we ran started event listening. Actually, how did that run first? Oh no, because 2 on connection ran, and then on message ran, and then we got an exception. We got an exception for the message version because the only exception is playing can only be called from the main thread. Okay, so I can only actually invoke the... If I removed this, would that error still come up? I feel like it wouldn't. Because it might just be that Unity actions can only be called from the main thread. Only Unity events can be called from the main thread, but the normal C# action system is just fine. So I hit thumbs up. Let's press thumbs up again. It was sent. Hello? Hello? It's not saying that's even receiving anything anymore. Oh, because it didn't actually start the server that time. Why is it saying it can't start the server now? Okay, it might be because I didn't gracefully shut it down, so it's got a little bit of persistence. It happens sometimes. We're just going to change the port slightly because I am an ungraceful person. There we go. And now, thumbs up. Yeah, so we didn't get that error. So the issue seems to be if there's a Unity action, that can only be called from the main thread. Unity events can only be called from the main thread, yes. Don't send a message, but it does work. It's just a matter of how do I ensure the events trigger on the main thread. Look at me rediscovering everything that mod author, or the package author, probably already thought of, which is why they orchestrated it the way that they did. But I don't want it to be mono behavior dependent on running. But the issue is there are non-main thread entities would like to come back to the main thread. So while I do appreciate the event system, that's probably why this exists. The enqueuement, because this actually allows them to come back to the main thread or have interaction with the main thread again. Because they can't just call a function. If they call a function, it's not going to be from the main thread. So it requires the main thread periodically running on something and checking on them. Can I make a loop in the main thread? That's not coroutine, you know? Does uni VRM, no, what was it? Uni async? Does uni async run on the main thread? Because if I can make like a repeatable loop in that, then that'd be great. So I guess Unity specific async, I'm forgetting what that library is called. Hang on. I'm using this library. How do I not know what it's called? Yeah, it's not Tardiv. It's oh, Tardiv's video is great. Async Awake, Coroutine's hot sister. I love that title so much. There was the other thing that was like the UniVRM version though. I keep saying UniVRM because that's like the VTuber plugin thing, but no, it's more specific. It is something else about async. Awaitable, that's like the usual thing, which is cool.
And then in our long-running task, each iteration, we're just checking to see if it's been cancelled, and if so, stop the loop. Now, it's a good time to note here that...
So that's cool, but what I need is more specific. It's Unity, async, git amend? No, Tardiv also did a video on this plugin. Unitask, there we go. Damn it, that was so hard to remember. Does Unitask run on the main thread? Yeah, so it doesn't use threads. So it allows you asynchronous, but with the engine layer. So let's use Unitask for this. I think I have to import from that plugin though. Unitasky, yes. So now the hope is if I can create a loop using Unitask. Oh, the other benefit is I can literally do a method called .switch to main thread. Sorry, just look at documentation because there's other pages like, oh, is it possible to wait for an async task running on the same thread? Stick it in a delegate and run it on the main thread instead as well. Delegate queue to marshal tasks from the main thread. Okay, that's literally what this particular style is doing. As they recommended is, could you just stick lines 8 and 11 on a delegate and run that on a main thread? Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, there's this example. The question is it possible to wait for an async task running on the same thread? It recommends sticking lines 8 through 11, which is the creation of the game object, the await, the mesh, and the destruction. Stick that into a delegate, and then run that delegate specifically on the main thread. Because all of this is already off the main thread, and then just have it run there. Not sure what the big hiccup is though. If the instantiation isn't your problem, then load file like that. Really look at queue to marshal tasks from other threads to the main thread is a way to do it. Keep it locked, it adds it, and update removes it. You just need to keep going through. Then there are third-party ones. Okay, so let's see what his version of this is for the delegate queue. Selection to do. And then there's a lock function that enqueues stuff into it. And in this case, we have the asynchronous queue, or the other queue, where we don't have to lock it in order to do operations on it. And then an update, it actually iterates through and then like attempts to dequeue things. I just prefer not having this in update though. Is the trick. So if Uni VRM, I keep calling it Uni VRM because it's just called Uni. When I see Uni, I think VRM. VTuber brain rot. If Uni task allows me to, I want to create this iteration loop on that delegate queue on the main thread without using mono behavior. Where we put it, respond to server events. Yes. Yes, yes. Ooh, excuse me. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I want. I don't need to run again off the main thread, but I need it to continuously iterate. Well, I need it to. So how do I do this? It's a uni async, right? Uni VRM define its async. I have to. It's been a little bit since I've worked with it. I'm saving that. Unity forum post though, because it's so good.
Unitask. Unitask is an open source project. So a unitask, unlike a task, a unitask is a struct, which means it has
Let's
zero
watch a
heap
video together.
allocations.
Get him in, by the way.
Similarly,
Great channel. Go subscribe. If you're here, you probably know of them. Very, very
providing
good
a
stuff.
lightweight, zero
I'm just not
allocation
on
delay
my main
that
YouTube
integrates
account. That's why I'm not
seamlessly
subscribed.
with Unity's player loop.
Am I
Now,
on my main YouTube account?
unitask.delay and
I
unitask.delay
am. Why am I not
frames
subscribed?
have multiple optional parameters that you
There
can
we go, I
pass
fixed
in.
it.
So that's why I'm using a named param for the cancellation token here. So just by
Async
making those two
unitask.
changes, we can now come up to the start method and await this example unitask, and we'll have a zero allocation asynchronous operation. Let's go try it out. Before I hit play, I want to show you one of the more impressive features of Unitask, and that is the Unitask tracker. I've got my
Okay, let's try an async unitask now. Yep. And then we're gonna do a hit that with a good old while. Was there a different way we wrote this? Where we tried to do the dequeuing thing? Really, this should run forever, and then just again, only continue when the dequeue is valid. We're no longer passing in the WebSocket event. What did I put? Okay, here's the original. Goody. We don't need this here. We remove the parameter. If this fails, go to the next iteration. And what's the issue with this? Oop. Can I do this instead? Nope, it just really doesn't like when you put that first curly brace about the second. The issue is, hey, I'm not getting anything to iterate on. How does it want me to do this? Is it just task up
see their anymore. That doesn't have to cancel it. Here's make unions. All of your methods return unitask or even.
Let's do unitask delay. Wasn't there like a main thread? Yeah, return to main thread. So return to main thread, same as await switch to main thread after using scope is closed. So I can force it to come back to the main thread for a period. I'm really curious to see how to play that out. I need to read the documentation on it. So unitask return to main thread. Bam. Sorry, gonna mute that one. My allergies. They disgust me. I disgust me. That's a joke. I can never disgust me. I'm wonderful. But I need to know more about this return to main thread function. What was it called again? Yeah, return to main thread. What does this do? You got a wiki for me? Allocation. I think I could just step into it too, right? Yeah, I can. Return to main thread. Same as switch to main thread after using scope is closed. Okay, what is switch to main thread? If running on main thread, there's nothing. Otherwise, the same as unitask.yield timing. Player loop timing. Okay, so this like waits till the main thread triggers. Let's just try switch to main thread. This is the same as switch to main thread, but it just closes the scope. But I don't know what closes the scope means here. Let's try this. It's awaitable. If running on the main thread, there's nothing. Otherwise, it's the same as this. So it should be awaited. And of course, that'll run in synchrony with the main thread. This should not be here, but instead it should be on just before connection handler handle connections. Yes, to actually handle the downstream affected in queuing, so it should be happening before connection handler. Yeah, connection handler starts. It's already going to need this running. Is this function wrong? Hang on a sec. Where's the server.connect? I feel like that should be in here. Server.connect. Yeah, how do we actually connect to the server? It's just establishes run after that. Yeah, it's run here. So this doesn't need to handle it. This is establishment. Just before we establish it, we should be running its respond to event thread. So let's try. Let's see how that goes. I have a feeling though, even though it's waiting for the main thread, it won't count as actually being on the main thread, which is the issue that we're facing. Yeah, because we're not getting that debug.log repeatedly. So now I'm going to hit the button. Yeah, nothing happened. Yep, so we're not actually on the main thread proper. We're just waiting to sync up with the main thread. Is there a way to run a loop? Okay. Here's another thing. Okay, let's. Oops. Hello. Looks like Unity has stalled. Yeah, that's not good. That might have been my doing. I actually can't tell. Either way, we gotta pop him. Jim, she's a goner. Time to destroy it. As happens with the best of us. Ooh, task manager. Are you with me there, buddy? There we go. Yeah, Unity's using 12 gigs right now. It's not coming back. It's running rampant. It's gonna hit 13 gigs. It hit 13 gigs. Yep. That ran away. Gotta be careful with multi-threading. So that was probably a code issue on my part. So what do we have here? The issue is ultimately I need to be on the main thread, constantly checking for when an in-queue event happens. When it does happen, I want to run code on the main thread. Could I make a class that wraps around? A little bit of effort, but again, I just don't want a mono behavior to have to trigger the response loop here. Yeah, so I prefer just yield here. That's fine. What I'm thinking right now is under protocol. Well, first, what do we have again? What kind of queue are we using? This concurrent queue. Can I just wrap concurrent queue, and that way whenever I run an in queue, I also run like an event on the in queue, and that event is subscribed via the main thread. Who knows? There might even be a thing already on it. In queue, try peak. Clear count in queue. Try DQ. Contains default empty. Except first. All these must be ordered by tool array. Yep. I just want an event to run on the main thread when this is used. And I feel like now we're getting to like little obscene levels to get that done. So let's get a little obscene. Public class call this Q2. It's of type concurrent Q. I don't know if type T, right? That's how we define this. If we look at concurrent queues source code, a private class called segment. Where's in queue? In queue, so I could overwrite this the moment in queue actually happens. We just have an event listening to it. But I feel like I'm now reinventing a whole data structure just for something that might be too much. I don't know. I don't know if this is the feasible or reasonable thing to do here. How to listen for when a new entry is added to a dynamic queue. This is different. That's a whole different library to use. Okay, it does provide an interface. That kind of does what I'm doing. Creating a queue. C# at the end. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, triggering an event when an object is added to a queue. If you mean a non-generic queue, you just override in queue. The generic one, but yeah. So I would like to override in queue. With this generic queue, I'd have to encapsulate it. How do I override it specifically? Can I just do that? Like an extends? Huh. Yeah, okay. Where's in queue again? Show me. There we go. Let's just override this. Okay, so yes, it is the generic queue class, so I should just encapsulate it. Important edit, remove base class. That's what triggered queue. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just reading off screen. So this is basically the stack exchange I'm looking at, and this seems okay. Like if I overwrite it like this. So inside it's just a normal thing, but I have a specific handler for when I in queue, I then do the other thing and then it. Important it is that he removed it inheriting as a base class. I'm just curious why he did it. Looking at your co, in that case consider the threaded queue. Which is what we're using, the threaded queue. This looks very unsafe, a little synchronization. Blocking queue or concurrent. concurrent queue. We're using concurrent queue for this. Yep. I just want an event-based concurrent queue. Oh, interesting. Wait. Okay. So, producer consumer queue inherits from blocking QT. And this one is initialize a new instance of producer consumer queue. Use add and try add for in queue, and try in queue, and take for try taken. Okay, a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, you can inherit from it. We're here where you've made a public thing here that's of type base concurrent queue with max size. Okay. So there it says use add and triad for in queue. Let's try this. I think this might be what I want. Good old copy paste. Look at that Stack Exchange coming in handy. Oh no, my nose is fully stopped now. You see, as I became nerdier and expanded my knowledge, my nose continued to stuff itself. Up here, so WebSocket open event. What do I want? This does not need to be serializable. No. So consumer queue, it says it must have return type. Oh, that's a constructor. Okay. I see where this is going. I misread that initial Stack Exchange post. Here, I'll put it on screen so you can all see how I misread it initially while I blow my nose. So I had it right the first time. It's just as part of a constructor, I can make a variant of this constructor the type of queue that I want. So I should inherit from the more generic form of queue. First, let me see. Can I just directly inherit from concurrent queue? Oh yeah, that's what I wrote here. Why was I rewriting it here? Because I'm blind, that's why. What did I replace here? Oh, this. I see. Yeah, no, that has to stay as it is. But for this, I am just inheriting from concurrent queue. I don't need it to be either or. I'm not sure why they recommended either or for this. So creating a blocking queue. So I have a scenario where we need to add a queue, multiple threads reading from it. If the queue reaches a size, all threads that are filling the queue are blocked until something is removed. Here's a solution. Then it has now it's built-in classes. Double the scenarios. Most of the list answers are obsolete. See the most recent answer from the bottom. Looking for thread safe collections. The answer may be obsolete, but it's still a good question, though. It is a good question. Yes, this is the actual relevant thing to bring up, which is blocking queue and concurrent queue. So I think I could just make it inherit from concurrent queue. I don't feel like I need the other part, because the other part's probably more specific to it. So if I just inherit from concurrent queue, again, we just have a public action. We're just going to take in any type T. Well, yeah, it should just be any type, which is what this is. Action, and then we have a public new add to, shouldn't it be in queue, right? So what is it called in here? I think it's just called in queue, right? Nope, public void in queue, T item. We're going to call base in queue. Why is it starting there? New is not valid. It must have a return time. Oh, it's just void, right? Yeah, it's void. Yep, and it's new in this case because I'm overriding it. So if something tries to access the more fundamental version, we'll use that, but otherwise do this. So we're going to enqueue it, and after we've enqueued it, we then invoke with that item, what should be happening. Instead of calling this Q2, call this, I don't know, event concurrent queue. And this is what we should be using instead of this one. I think if I just do this, it should all just work, right? I think so. How do I expand this outward? I used to be able to get the whole, like, graphic layout, like a little preview of where the code is, but I forgot how to... I got rid of it at one point. I don't know how to get it back. I'll solve you one day, Visual Studio. Alright, higher energy. I got another swig of tea. I'm ready to go even more. Go harder, go faster. I think we're just good. I think we just hit play and it'll all just work. I say that with errors. Okay, what's the error? This? Oh, that's because I'm initializing it incorrectly. We're not concurrent queues here anymore. We're event concurrent queues where we're going. Even though that actually should have worked. Why didn't that work? Instantiating it as a concurrent queue. Oh, because it's super versus subclass type. I see. Yeah, I see why. If it was a variable of type event queue that I would then set equal to concurrent queue, I'm going to confuse myself if I try to verbally explain that. But yes, I understand why that didn't work. Okay, so now that I have event queue, let's set this up correctly, which is after I initialize it, we have our little action here. What we're going to be subscribing to this action is what goes on in... I always forget which one of these handles. Actually listening to it. I think it's respond to server events. Yes. The one here. I don't think it even needs... Yeah, just run break in that case. There's nothing to do, but otherwise, this doesn't even need to be async. It's just void now. Okay. Why is it throwing so many errors? What the fuck's happening? Oh, because it needs to receive a WebSocket event as a... Okay, I see what's happening. You need to receive it as a parameter, and then you can move on. No closing statement for which break to continue. I just mean like exit early, so return now, I guess. So this to on open. You can't see... You can't see these behaviors now for some reason. Is there like a parentheses issue? Worker threads, expect a semicolon. Okay, that's fair. This is for TCP connection. Why is this throwing issues? Oh, because that'll do it. A whole spare curly brace will indeed do me in like that. But now that's saved. So now we've made our own little custom version of of a concurrent queue where I could just have an event react the moment something is in queued. We have subscribed our ability to respond to server events to it, so that way that should now be triggered, and it should come down here. Please, for the love of all that is holy, let this be in the main thread. I really hope this is running in the main thread. I think it is. Maybe, because it's just an event delegate restoring. But who knows? Because last time when we ran it directly, it wasn't technically from the main thread. So it should just fire off those events as shit comes in. Oh god, there's still a chance it's not from the main thread, though. I did all this for nothing. We'll see. WebSocket server? Extension of native class. Why is it complaining about WebSocket server? Does it have like mono behavior still attached to it? Nope. Okay, that's fine. You'll be ignored. So we have it here. Thumbs up. Nada. Oh. Okay, just sent something. It was not received. Did it just throw an error? Hello? Okay, it looks like Yeah, it's erroring out when I do this. So it's failing to establish the connection. Why? Try again. Okay, now it's throwing this every time, but it was not throwing that error before. Also, just for the sake of like cleanseness, okay, let's restart it because we've been running that plugin the whole time. So now thumbs up. Hello? Okay, so it tried, but no connection established. What? What do you mean no connection established? That's an entirely different error than what was happening before. Localhost 7893. Let's give that a whirl. What's happening here? Oh, I see. It's magic. I see exactly what happened. This. Why isn't this attached? What's wrong? Did I roll something back or something? It could have always been WebSocket behavior. Okay, 127. 1. The port, we know what's going on with the port here. And of course, give it the CncMachine. And give it the old howdy. Perfect. So now let's give it a whirl. I'm gonna press my little button, little thumbs up button. Okay, it was received, but it threw an error because it's still not playing from the main thread. Come on, man. I just want it to be from the main thread, but not run from a filthy mono behavior. Is that so much to ask? Is it really? It might be. Oh god, it might be. Because the issue is only in the terms of Unity events. Only then is it an issue. Can I move it from the main thread? Maybe the issue is just the direct subscription aspect. Also, now I know I don't need all of this goofiness, okay? Just go back to using concurrent queues. Yep. So concurrent queues that we just check in on occasionally. Because that is playing is only an issue because the Unity event must be run from the main thread. Because you little fellers. Can I make a call come back to the main thread? Can I make a C# task come back to the main thread? Yeah, call back to the main thread. I don't know much about threads, but I have a question. I want to do something in the background, and in background method, I want to switch back to the main thread of a certain condition, otherwise in the background. How can I achieve this functionality? I'm using a call to start sync thread from UI classic C#. First, start your async process, then call dispatcher.begin invoke to get back to the UI thread. So in the task, then you can do this to come back to the main. Note dispatcher is not static, it relies on your code being a part of a member function in order to work. There are a couple approaches. First, you use to split up your synchronous method into different parts. This is best if your synchronous method calculates different types and goes into those parts of the UI. You have async, which says async task run, do the sync one. The second is to use progress reporting. This is best if your UI updates are all the same. So progress is my progress, and set progress equal to progress update, whatever this is, and task.run, do sync this. So do sync is just a function, and I think helps things final. Final alternative, I probably strongly recommend two above, the two solutions. There is a final alternative, but I strongly recommend one of the two above. The two above solutions result in better design code separation concerns. The third alternative is to pass a task factory used to run arbitrary code. What does do sync do? Or is do sync just like an assumption? What is a sync method and what is an async method? I understand this. It's just okay to do this. It's because you mark your method as async, we don't have any awaits. Yep. So do sync async data is equal to okay. You can just await the result and then have it come back. I guess I could await every... No, I don't think that would work. This is a minor thing, and it just kicked my ass now. Of course it is. The ultimate issue is I just want to be able to invoke Unity events based on an event that may or may not happen on a different thread. Because this runs normally, but then I need some, like, on-event behavior to also run normally. This is just like a wrapper on event open or on open event. Yep, so both of these, all of these are just wrappers on Unity events. The trick is these are normal C# like action events. Can I? Let me do this. Let me do this instead. She's a lambda here. Let's see if I can remember how to write a lambda. Debug.log. A message. Rat. Does not take 0 arguments. Oh yeah, it does have a WebSocket. Message WebSocket. WB. If I just put in WB and it just knows, it does just know. Awesome. See, a message ran. Let's try that instead of the other wacky bullshit. How do I ensure that it is running correctly on every thread? I just need to run it. By it, I mean the actual respond to events loop, yes. So where do I put this? Because right now this is designed to run off of my little concurrency stuff. So let's just put it, I'll just put it back. Put it back how I had it before. Because I know this runs, it just causes the exact same issue that I was trying to prevent previously. And then concurrent, there we go. So now we're going to start, and we're going to see if that debug.log can run. Because if that can run, then the hope should be that we could somehow bring that information back to the main thread. Thumbs up. Okay, it did connect, and it did say that like a message ran, because I attached it via lambda here. This shows that, yeah, this was null, which is obvious. So there is a way for me to bring all this back. We can get this to work. After I blow my nose, of course, because ew. Okay, so after a bit of random perusing, I found a forum on Swift specifically, and someone's just asking, hey, is there a way, I'm working on a GUI app, so inside of task I want to update the UI, but it's only possible from the main thread. Is there an old GDC way of doing it, GCD way of doing it, with dispatch queue, but I was wondering if there's a more modern way of doing it with just a task. it would have to be nice to have a continuation like this. Wait a minute. It's not even related to what that was posted. I think I just had a brain blast. I need to think it through though. The issue is it's gonna be a coroutine though. The coroutines are a part of the main thread, which is annoying. So run uni vrm as main thread. No, it's not uni vrm, it's uni task. Okay. Uni task switch to main thread.
Today, let's talk about how the
tutorial.
method unitask that switch to main thread might be useful to you. This is the code
Please
that
do.
I use to check which files has been created into a folder and check if that file is an image or not. I'm doing that by using the file system watcher. I fill all the necessary configuration, and most of all I filter it to only recognize the JPEG files. And then I subscribe to the event of the file chance and file created. In onCreated callback, I'm gonna create a texture 2D type, and then I'm gonna load
What
source
is the
data from
background
the file
noise?
that has been created by using file with all bytes of the full part of the file system event arguments. I'm gonna load those mesh. I'm gonna load source data into the texture and assign the texture to it. The code seems fine, but this code doesn't run. Let me show you.
Yep, because it's not on the
Editor.
main
You
thread,
see that?
right?
Choose the
Okay.
part component right here, and when I hit play, I will open the resisted data part. As I list right here, the resisted data part is created. A message. I click copy, and I save. You see that it's already logged the message about the file that has just been copied to, but somehow when I create a texture using the file data, it didn't have any data in here. You will see that it's still none. The reason for that is, although it's my strain that it seems, the event handler subscribed to the onCreated is not actually executed on the main thread. However, the load image API from UD needs to be on main thread to be executed. So the solution for us is we have to execute the further logic in the main thread of UD. And we're going to use that by using unitask as switch to main thread.
No way it's that
I will
easy.
put a wait keyword first to be sure that we are on the main thread. And I will put a since keyword here
No
to
way it's
remove
that
any
easy.
compilation errors. When you're working with some native, this consider how hit play.
So you just made it async, you put it in a wait on main thread, and then in... No, I swear, I tried that exact thing and it didn't work. Okay. Time to try. This is what we're subscribing to. And in his example, that was the function. And I believe he just changes the function that's being subscribed into an async void, which usually won't be async unitask, let's be honest. Yeah, async void, and then we just await unitask, switch to main thread. Unitask dot switch to main thread. There's no fucking way.
You'll find this problem so many times, and there's nothing wrong with our code. Our code runs perfectly. The only thing that we need to be considered is we have to execute it on the main thread. So right here, I will switch to the main thread and execute the code. Let's see what's happening. I'll hit play. All of that
Yeah,
we
his
have to-
example then just works, so let's see if my example just works or not. We swapped to main thread. We're opening, we're closing, we're doing all of them. Let me fill them in too. So let's see if that'll work on message.invoke. Put it after, so Websocket server dot on, nope, not that on message, this on message. Describe it to this dot invoke. What is the capital on message? What is that again? I've gone what this is. This is not what I need, I'm pretty sure. See, this is respond to server event, which is the actual function that that's not run on the main thread. But this is like if I wanted integral code to actually run every time, no matter what, I'd put it there. But yes, I don't need that. No. Just in case debug.log. No, this is an abstract class. No, it's not. I can put stuff in here. Hey, this on message log ran. Just for extra check. Okay. We've already set this up. We're good to go. Yeah. Let's try this out. Getting ready. Theoretically, I could also put the action event in that method, but let's keep our lives a little simple. So I don't think this is gonna work. Let's try it. Hit thumbs up. I swear to God, I did exactly that before, and it threw me an error. I need to scrub through my VOD. What did I do wrong when I did switch to main thread initially with Unitask? What? Okay, it works. I'm happy. I'm happy it works. I'm so happy. I am happy that it works. I'm happy that it works. I'm annoyed it didn't work earlier. What did I do wrong the first time? Ugh. Ugh. Okay. It works. It works, guys. Logged howdy. We're working it through C# and all that. I feel sick to my stomach. Why did it work this time? Okay, you know what? No. We're VOD scrubbing. We're doing degeneracy right now. What did I do differently that allowed it to work? My channel. I'm watching my own VOD. We're doing it. Generously right now. What did I do differently that allowed it to work? Silence you. Application is not to really be that robust, so maybe multi-threading is a bit overkill. But oh God, is that what I sound like? My audio is not balanced. Yep. So say the word howdy. Very, very imbalanced. Give it a little full swing. Might actually have to take an antihistamine for that. We need to remove Unity's mono behavior being dependent for the services listening. One way to do that, let's inspect trying to merge it with handle. To turn up my voice, this apparently. That's the big thing. Enqueuing of events even happens. Why even bother enqueuing it when instead I could just show me where I was using Unitask? Really, can I just put that at the beginning? Because I needed to yield no matter what happened. Misinterpreted break for what continue should be doing. Why is it blurry too? It's weird sometimes. What happens to the bit? I think this is some live streaming still. I hope it'll stabilize on the VOD, but I don't like this. I don't like this bitrate, weird compression stuff. A little bit funny if that were the case, but you know, I'm reacting to my own reaction. Always get the truly. We've gone full swing. Nope, it's still not running every frame, which is suspicious. With this function, where's UniVRM? What point did I use it? That's when I did as an enumerator to prove that it worked. An exception for the message version because the exception is playing it will be called from the main thread. Thumbs up. It should work. Howdy for all. We reacted. We started event listening, and then we did nothing after we started the event listening. Why? Why? Games. Yeah, we just want the. It happens sometimes. Okay, so yes, it was this. I just want to switch to UniVRM. Where we put spawn server events? Yes.
Seamlessly with Unity's player. Now Unitask.delay and Unitask.
This. Where if I do the Okay, back up. So pause. So what I did here is I had it return a Unitask, but it was marked as async. We don't need this here. Where did I put the wait for? Hey, main thread. Issue is, hey, I'm not getting anything to iterate on. Remember doing this? Main thread. Yeah, return to main thread. So return to main thread. Was it because I didn't do a wait? After using how to play that. Cause I know I went on a little Google thing for like, what does that function even do? Switch to main thread. Just close. So
wait.
Oh, is it because I use switch to main thread and not return?
Of course. That'll run synchrony with the main
I
thread.
think it was because I used switch to main thread.
This should not be here, but instead it should be on just before.
Okay. So I think it was because I used switch to main thread. If I swapped this right now to switch to main thread, we can turn the music back on. So if I swap this to switch to main thread, am I going to get the same error that I got before? Wait, no, this is using switch to main thread. Oh no, my brain is melting. Was it because I've returned unitask and not void here? Hang on. Okay. Let me not jump to assumption. Let's see if I really do play it without making further changes.
Yes, actually handle the downstream effect in the queuing, so it should be happening before connection handler. The connection handler starts. It's already going to need this running. Is this function wrong? Hang on a sec. Where's the server.connects? I feel like that should be in here.
This is running once,
Server
but it's not running as like an infinite while loop, I guess, which is the difference as well. So I'm only calling this on
Yeah, it's right here.
when I need to actually have something to respond to.
So this is
That could be another architectural
before
thing,
we establish it. We should
where again, I'm not looping through it infinitely. Instead, I'm only calling it once
Let's see how that goes. I have a feeling
via an
though, if it's for the main
action
thread, it won't go
when I
on.
need to, and I know there's data in the enqueuement.
Yeah, because I'm getting that debug.log repeatedly.
Okay. I don't need... Goodbye, past me. You were insufficient for what I needed. Goodbye. Bye. Okay, there we go. So... Oh, God. Okay. We're good. We're chilling. We're big chilling. Bing chilling. I have to blow my nose out of sheer disgust. This works now, though. This is responding to server events, and it passes in a WebSocket thing as it. Why is this throwing an error? Oh, because the unitask is not void. Yeah, this assumes void for any old action to subscribe itself. So this does work, and this also works because I'm wrapping it and adding in, again, the singularly triggered action. For the moment something happens, for a moment an event isn't queued, do I want behavior to run? And then I can allow for mono behavior to run, because I'm swapping back to the main thread and all of these are now invoked. Do we even need this? Yeah, we don't need this because this is all just one class. So we run our mandatory functions, then we run our obligatory functions, that we subscribe to via action. Okay. We are very, very good now. Next, we have those. So what was the other thing that bothered me? Oh yeah, it was this. Making a whole new class out of these Unity events. In case I had core code that I wanted to run for them. I'm 90% sure I'm not going to need to do that. Yeah, so just make these direct. What is it? Open and close just need the connection, and message needs the actual whole message. Which is fine. Cleaning this up a little bit. If message has nothing, it'll at least, like, give it something, I guess. And here we subscribe all their invokes. Here we were adding a lambda. We hit start. So nothing else needs to be managed beyond start. So once we've started our little WebSocket server, we come down here to events. We then make our little unique concurrent events queue here. I feel like this should be inside of protocol or something to that effect. Or connection, really. Like, here's protocol, and yeah, here's a bunch of, like, helper classes as well. Yeah, data frame, request header, these are a lot of helper classes. So for server, and queue concurrence, it's just a helper class here. Oh, not there. I don't even need the event routine anymore because I'm not handling this like a thread normally. instead of just action callbacks. So I think that's more efficient too, because that way we don't have to worry about, oh, every frame we're checking. We're only checking or explicitly calling back exactly when we need to. Removed, it's assigned but never read to. What was worker threads doing before? I don't know, but I guess I don't need it anymore. Handle connection, well, that was true. Then we would queue this, receive, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's just commented out. Unnecessary. We have the core functions, and then we have more mysterious commented out functions that are not in my pipeline. And yes, so the moment we actually try to start the server, we start our little enqueuement queue. We add to it our ability to actually respond to server events. That's just broadly what we need to happen. Then we create our listener thread, and this is where how we actually handle TCP listening, so actually interacting and reacting to WebSocket connections. And then the server events is whenever a connection happens, we then queue something important. Where here again we establish connection. And the moment connection happens, is this a while, forever? Yes, this is the background thread that'll then run this forever. And once connection is successful, we do the whole handshake. We enqueue the fact that happened. So handle connection is what happens from then on. Handle connection happens after establish runs. When does establish run? Establish runs on this. So the moment we actually listen, run listen to TCP connection. So that's the new thread we've started, is this listen. Listen runs through, it starts it, we handle it, and we run establish the very first time we have a connection. If we are not established, set up that handshake connection to be valid. Which I think this is what this is checking, to see if we've already set this up to be valid or not. And then we listen to every new message that can be given, and we react accordingly. The moment we succeed, we do the handshake. I get a little lost sometimes through this. I think that means I'm tired. I think that means my brain has hit peak plasticity, okay? Yes, this is after we have a successful handshake connection that we actually create another new thread that then no longer listens for handshakes, it just handles every other form of connection communication, which is what this thread is for. So this one handles handshakes and comes back with handshakes. Then after that has run successfully once, we have this new one, which runs forever. Yeah. Then that runs in the background forever. And this, of course, is just a while true that is now spun off to do its own thing. An established connection runs, I believe, successfully once. There should be no while forevers on these. This is a while true. For any new connections, we're always listening for those. And the moment a new connection happens, and that thread. Okay, let's draw this. Because I'm just speaking kind of out my butt now. So we start with a server start. Once that server starts, we then spin off a new connection. Yep, start server. So we spin off a new thread called listen to anything TCPP. TCPP? I'm just making up fucking words now. We're almost done after this, okay? Bear with me. So, server start into TCP listener. TCP listener. And also server start is, of course, inside of the main thread. Main thread. Then we're in the TCP listener, which is in its own thread. And then we're in TCP listen for connection. So this runs forever, and then whenever there is a successful connection, we run the method called establish to actually handle creating a connection. Oh, that's a lot of Vivaldi's. Way too many browsers, but that's what research will do. Just close down a lot of these browsers. Holy moly, okay, yeah. We're chopping through it, but I thank everyone who was able to help me. I also appreciate the YouTube video I raged at because it showed me my own incompetence. Okay, let me kick that. Good. Where am I? I lost track of my train of thought. There we go. I'm back and ready. So after we hit establish inside of our TCP listener, which is a method in here, every time we're going to establish connection. Whenever we've successfully established a connection, we will then break off, assuming that connection is successful. We break off and then have another new thread that handles every other aspect of that communication. Every other aspect. So this is now TCP communication handler thread. That's what this thread's job is. It's to handle any other form of communication that can happen. And this is where we have established connection. Here we have receive messages. And this is how it daisy chains, because after we start a server, we always want that third server to start a new TCP listener to handle just any kind of information, specifically listening in for new connections. And in the event that a connection is established, we then spin off another new thread that handles listening to communications on that newly found connection. Just as a double check to check my sanity for how all of this works. And handle connection. Yep, this is every frame true. And here we have a data frame. Read data frame, I believe, comes back up and is reading from any information dripped from that client. Yep. So it's actually listening into the client from kind of the first segment of TCP listening. So we establish this all the way up here. Yep. Here we listen. We have connected client, which accepts it. And remember, we have, if we walk all the way back up to where the client we're listening to that drip feed from, handle communication, is coming from read data frame. This client gets passed in as a TCP client, and it gets this connected client. So all the way up in the very first thread segment, we're passing in the little client object we got from this. We'll call this like client. And this gets trickled down as needed. Yep, and that's why receive messages is listening to everything this client has to say to handle other things. So this client is both passing in the relevant information for established connection once it's been established, and then if established connection does happen, it successfully makes the client and makes a whole new thread for that client to be spied on, because we all love a little bit of surveillance in our lives. And that is how, broadly, this TCP-based WebSocket server operates. We start it, then we're usually creating two threads. One kind of major highway for all TCP-related connections from then on, and then subthreads for the individual pathways to specific WebSocket clients. So every time I make a new client for a specific back and forth, really there's only going to be one like WebSocket client for the whole of this talking to this application. Then the touch portal WebSocket client is the thing that communicates through this. That's really what's all inside of like that blue. Now can I represent this a bit better? Oop. I guess if I color all of this blue. Blue, blue, blues. Yep. I can just move it over here and call it the TCP WebSocket server. So this is the dark reality, the truth of that TCP WebSocket server. To break it down another layer. We'll do like the white layer into the greens. Green thread meaning go, go, go. And then individual connections established between each thread and each WebSocket. Yep. Then we'll change their text colors too to be even more representative. Let's start, we have that main highway, and then we start moving stuff from there. Then we establish connections, we make a unique client, and then we start the individual interaction and handling of client information. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Magnifique, some would even say. Okay. So really, we have this working. We just didn't connect it to the specific CNC machine today, yet again, because we went down a new form of rabbit hole, as we always do. But really did connect it to the CNC machine. Like, if I wanted to see the unique things I wanted to see, let's just do it. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it because we're crazy. And the thread aborted because I clicked off, yeah. Let's do a positive effect. Trigger progress effect. So let me double check that I'm being at least somewhat smart about my threads and not like creating massive memory leaks. Unander's using like 5.58 gigs right now. We'll keep an eye on that, see how that's going. Even though I already think that's probably a little high. Let's save this and let's see. So what I think should happen now is that I'm playing. I'm gonna hit thumbs up. You're gonna see something happen to that device, okay? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, would you look at that? The CNC machine is okay, we got no reference exception that time. But the CNC machine did cause that effect to happen. I don't really know why these freak out the way that they are. Like, after it played once. But we did hit the button and cause it to play once. We just need to solve the issue in Unity where it seems to break. We have the initial connection. Hello? Okay, it ran, but it didn't do anything. It did it again, but didn't do anything. It's not doing anything. Why? CNC machine? Do you have an actual... Are you targeting anything right now? Yeah, the machine holder tab. Like the progress effect here, it does it just fine. Let's load a new machine. And then... Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to fix that. But we did prove that I could hit a button, especially when it's like this machine. It did something cool. Did I just change that, like at runtime? Is that why this isn't working? No, I did. Okay, it did work. I'm not crazy. So we're getting down to a message ran, and we're running stuff correctly. Why is none of this actually updated as we save? Wacky. Okay, I'm unraveling. I've been streaming for too long. 2.5 hours of grinding this out for something that I didn't expect to take 2.5 hours. That's the real coder experience, okay? But thank you so much for coming out to see me connect my little CNC machine to a button. Bam! I hit the button and it did a thing. It spewed a lot of errors. That's a Unity problem, okay? Hashtag not my fault. It is my fault. It's entirely my fault. But it's my fault. It's later me's fault. So thank you for watching me connect my little CNC machine and cause it to spew errors. All of this was so I could hit a button on my phone to cause a bunch of errors to happen. But you know what? It was worth it, damn it. I can hit a button on my phone and sometimes cause machines to... Oh, there was a socket error there, okay. It was because I didn't shut down the server correctly when I'm exiting. So if I just move this to a new socket, instead of cleaning up my own messes, I'm going to do it again. Thank you for watching and for experiencing this development journey with me. I've been Power Corvius, and I'll see you when I decide to bother fixing the pathway of errors. I think MMF is... There's something about the way I'm referencing the core machine object that it loses reference immediately and then freaks the hell out. But that's the me for another day's problem. Until then, bye-bye for now. I was unmuted. Oh god, all those